Liam O'Brien stars on Critical Role, but he also has voiced an incredible sum of characters. So I talked to him about what he loves about acting and what is unique about the D&D experience.
I think D&D is maybe having a resurgence now and has stood the test of time um, because of its intimacy and its realness. I mean, we're in a world of video games and virtual reality and going and sitting in a darkened theater and watching a movie and not looking at the person on your left or your right. We look at our iPhones as we walk around the street and we're constantly looking at screens and getting things done, emailing, multitasking. And D&D forces you to sit down for 3 or 4 hours, ignore that stuff, look each other in the face, and you know you can take risks in an arena where there aren't any real consequences, and you can sort of work stuff out, have fun, be brave, be stupid, be selfish, be anything. It's the human experience built on a skeleton of dice. Well, if you can find people in person, I think that's ideal. If you can't, obviously, go the Skype route. But that sitting around the fire aspect that Matt always talks about, that is strongest when you're sitting together. So that's big. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about getting the rules right. You'll pick that up over time. It's about the fun you're having around the table. I don't think people, if they play Monopoly, kick themselves if they forget, a rule about moving to Park Place. And it is a game. It's maybe the world's greatest game, but it's still a game. And be stupid, be dumb, be willing to make mistakes. If you're just playing at home, it's not like the internet's watching. All you're going to do is laugh at yourselves together and have a good time, and then occasionally, you know, touch the fantastic and have magic moments. I mean, all forms of theater is like that, and performance capture for video games is like that, but it truly feels like there's no limitations because it's just what you can imagine with a group of people. And something that we get out of this that we don't get out of all these awesome projects that we love working on, it's somebody else's project, which is still great, but with what we're doing, when you played a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, it's yours. You're pulling it out of your own butt. You have a sense of ownership that you don't have, just getting taken on as a hired gun for an acting gig. And especially with the evolution of the show and how deep we are into it, like we really feel like we're creating a universe together. And if there's a kind of character I want to play or things I want to explore as an actor, I can't ham fist shove them into a job that I've been given, but I can certainly do that with what we're doing now and do. And so it's like we get to explore, any color we want. Pure improv with a fantasy candy shell. I mean, it's best. I mean, it's better than VR because it's what's more expansive than your own imagination. I think that they're doing a great job. Wizards of the Coast with 5th edition. I think it's really accessible and fun and easy to pick up and inclusive in a way that maybe it wasn't before. And now, not just our show, but certainly our show included. D&D is a hard thing to explain to somebody in conversation. So having something like our show or one of the others that are out there, you have a live play right in front of you. It makes sense watching it, but trying to explain it to Travis at a card table in Matt's apartment was like, what I can do? What do you want me to do? Is this Monopoly? But if you sit down and watch it for an hour, suddenly, and I feel like, I don't know, it's a renaissance for the hobby. It's beautiful. No, we weren't prepared for the connection we'd make. I mean, I think we thought it would go a couple of months, maybe a year, and be some sort of fun experiment. And if it didn't work, we'd just, roll up our wagon and bring it back to the house. But we have people, thousands of people who are familiar with these characters that we sat around a dining room table pretending to be, and it's amazing. It's like going into a cave and seeing a cave painting of something that's existed only in your head for 2 years. And the community, the people involved. I mean, we're all 8 of us are just big fat geeks, and if I just feel like I'm part of, geeks run the world is what everyone jokingly says, but it just feels like we've come into our own, and having this kind of show and the sort of people who've been involved, not just in making of the show, but people who send in art and people who are dressing as our characters or writing songs or writing fiction. It just feels like a really a creative boom, and it's inspiring. And I mean, I think I'm listening to myself and I sound hackneyed saying it, but it's really true. It's very humbling to have done something just because we loved it and to have it take on a life outside of us even. I got in like in grade school. I had a period, it wasn't that long, when I was, I don't know, 11, 12, 13, 14, where I discovered the D&D Red Box once upon a time and just started reading Dragonlance novels and getting, anything I get my hands on. And then I started DMing for some school friends, but also acting as a player in my own game, which makes no sense. But I want to be involved, and I didn't know what I was doing. And then nothing. Put it away. Went to theater school to be a serious actor, and forgot all about it. Still like fantasy a ton, but about I don't know, maybe 2006, seven. I was directing Matt Mercer in a Resident Evil game, and we got along. I just had a couple of kids, and he could tell that I was as geeky as he was, and he started inviting me to come sit in on his campaign. And I had two pretty brand new kids, and I kept putting it off and going, it sounds great, but there's no way I have time in my life for that. And then finally, a couple of years later, I pulled some people together to do it one time only. Just have a couple beers and laugh our asses off. I thought, laugh at ourselves, which we do all the time now. But the morning afterwards, I woke up and thought, oh my God, has just changed my life. I can't stop doing this. And I texted everybody and said, can we do this more? And nobody responded for a while. So I thought, oh no, I've just outed myself as the biggest doofus in my circle of friends. But I was just impatient, and everybody was as snake bit as I was. It was like an experiment. It was just supposed to be us getting together for 3 or 4 hours and have a laugh. But everybody, and I remember that first game was amazing because we're sitting around a card table in Matt Mercer's old place, and nobody really. I mean, I knew how to play it. Taliesin had played it, and Matt obviously has been playing nonstop. But the rest of us were either green, rusty, or had never heard, didn't know anything about it. Travis. And right from the word go, Laura just started speaking in the voice that everybody knows her speaking in on the show now. Like there was no hesitation. There was no, how do I play a part? She just was immediately talking like this, and it set the bar, and we were off to the races. I did that whole serious theater actor thing for a bunch of years. I was doing stage work, and friends were telling me you should get into voiceover. And I was really, loved animation, but I didn't know that I could put my sort of geeky pastimes together with the career that I'd chosen. But I was doing a version of Romeo and Juliet somewhere in the country, and another actor in the cast had been doing dubbing for Japanese animation, and we became friends, and he hooked me up with an audition when we got back to New York, and then it just was like dropping a pebble at the top of a hill, and just went pink, bididing, ding, boom, and 15 years later, there's this massive boulder rolling down the hill, and I love it. I love it.